In the 90s, the toy company Ty Inc. created a stuffed animal called a Beanie Baby. The company decided to market them as a limited edition and even went as far as to discontinue certain designs so that people would think that they really are limited, and in fact, more valuable than any other stuffed animal. Despite being a toy marketed at children, many adults began to buy an absurd amount of these toys, some even going as far as taking out loans just because they thought that it would be a sound investment and that this could in no way go wrong. It did in fact go wrong. People quickly realized that they were spending millions on stuffed animals that weren't actually rare at all. The market eventually got flooded, the prices ended up crashing, and everyone stopped caring about them soon after. Almost everyone who spent their life savings on these things never made any of their money back. And I'm glad that we all learned a valuable lesson so that this never ends up happening again. This is a NOOOO. It's a cube that you can squish. I bought mine about a year ago at a Barnes & Noble's. It was sitting at the checkout line next to hundreds of others, just unassumingly. I'm glad these are so readily in stock because they're honestly pretty cool. I'm glad no one cares about these, right? The number one question a retail worker is hearing now is, do you have any NOOOOs in stock? Tied with, hey man, you got any Pokemon cards in the back that aren't out here? No, I don't. Stop asking. I don't know when they'll be back in stock, and even if they were back in stock, I would never even tell you if they were back in stock, and I'm not. Just a few years ago, we were back to collecting items that were kind of made to be collected, so that you can build up your own custom collection at home. Stuff like trading cards, action figures, Funko Pops, anyone? But slowly, once again, it's like the cycle continued. It's like the soul of the Beanie Baby and whatever drugs they were doing in the 90s have slowly started to seep back into our lives. Everyone wants to feel special, and you have a right to. Everyone deserves to be unique, but more and more, it feels like uniqueness is equated to what keychain you got out of your surprise gotcha box, or what Labubu you got, or what Stanley cup you drink from. If you are genuinely excited and interested by these things, more power to you. But I think as a whole, we need to take a step back and kind of look at what the hell we're doing. Squishies are fun. I have a few myself, but is it really worth camping outside stores at 6 a.m. just so you can run to the toys section and grab whatever NOOOOs you have on the shelf? You could chalk it up to just a generational disconnect and how we hate everything the younger generation does. And that this is most likely a fad and the squishies craze will blow over, just like the Stanleys and just like the Labubus. But firstly, it's not just the new generation, unfortunately. And secondly, once it'll be past NOOOOs, there's gonna be another thing that people are crazy about. Just now, people are already crazy about these dumpling squishies. I mean, literally all the creators that gain thousands of followers off of showing off their NOOOO collections and showing people how to scalp NOOOOs correctly are now drifting over to the squishy dumplings and doing the same exact thing over and over. And that's just the toy side of things. Have we not learned from Book Talk and the endless videos about that? I live with someone who fell into this craze even while being a genuine book nerd. And right now, their Kindle gets more use out of it than this whole shelf full of collector books. I'm not saying don't collect things. I collect things myself, but isn't it weird that every single product on the shelf has some sort of collector or gotcha aspect to it now? Everything is just, you can get the other edition at Walmart and then you can get the other edition at Target, or it's just buy this little ball and it might have the version you want or it doesn't. Somewhere along the way, collecting stopped being a hobby you could just do on your off time. It has become a day job for people with extra time and extra money on their hands, which unfortunately aren't the demographic these products are mostly made for. Kids. A kid can't just walk into a store anymore and grab the product they want because some scalper already got to it at 6 a.m. Have you noticed how all these products whose crazes have come and gone aren't even like new products? Like Pokemon cards. The real money is in the early booster boxes. NOOOOs launched in 2017. Stanley made the tumblers in 2016, and one by one, social media kept picking these things up, bringing them to the limelight and having everyone going crazy over them. We keep turning these random everyday items into pseudo collectibles for some reason. It's like people who haven't formed hobbies of themselves see these trends on social media and just attach themselves to it. They see it as something they do on their off time, but then everyone just latches onto these like we're running out of any material anytime soon. This isn't some hate piece about consumerism. Look around me. But social media has somehow perfected the art of taking something as mundane as vacuum sealed flasks and turning turning them into designer collectible items that you need to stand out of a store at 6 a.m. for. All it took was for a car burning down to make Stanley's the #1 product in the world for a moment. Then for a moment there, it was Owala's, and if you remember before that, it was Hydro Flasks. Have you seen the drop of any Taylor Swift album recently? She has 30 odd versions of every album scattered across every store in the United States. Hell, it's not even Taylor Swift, it's every artist doing this. We're living in a weird feedback loop that we've seen before, but it's more prevalent now than ever. A company launches a product, makes like 40 of them, ships them to every state that they can, let it all fall into the hands of scalpers, and voila, artificial hype on your product. Let me remind you, we had a whole term for this back in the day called hype beast products. Yeah, do you remember that? I get it when it's something that's legitimately limited, like GPU launches, or back in the day, midnight game releases, because that's a finite product that is a very hot selling product that had build up to it. What the fuck does the NOOOO company have to worry about? If you look at eBay, these are going for double or nearly triple the price, and tired parents all over the world are bidding on these just so that they can satisfy their TikTok brain kids. Yes, I sound like an old person, but back in my day, the things that ran out of stock for me were things like the Wii and the PS3, not some squishy toys or water bottles. At least it was some like Lego set or action figure. I could kind of get the insane hype and the waiting outside of stores. But doesn't it feel like this is pushing consumer culture a bit too far? To the point that when I worked at Target a few weeks ago and I walked out of the warehouse with a cart full of squishies, as soon as they saw me park my cart near the NOOOO section, all hell would break loose. I've had people straight up grab whole cartons of NOOOOs outside of my cart and run with them, and I can't do anything about it. Like, it is actually getting scarily crazy. Why are there so many unsupervised kids in Target? Am I missing something? And let's be real, we are in the midst of an artificial scarcity crisis, as well as just straight gambling to add on to that. There's whole aisles in stores just for surprise toys, ball things, I don't know, I haven't bought them, each for around $10 to $15. So you have these kids who now, rather than just grabbing the thing that they want off the shelves, the doom scrolling app told them that they need to try for this specific keychain out of this specific ball thing. So they have to buy multiples of these gachas using their parents' monies, and more than likely get repeats and not the cool item that they want. And then they hop back on TikTok or Reels, scroll for a bit, see a creator that they like doing a $1,000 unboxing of all these gachas, and now you've got 9-year-olds feeling actual depression and experiencing gambling mechanics before they even understand what taxes are. You know what? Forget about the kids for a moment. Wanna know what's worse than NOOOOs? Anything else related to pop culture. Logan Paul just dropped a couple million on a first edition One Piece manga, and almost tried to drop a couple million more on some Hulk Hogan boots. You have fights breaking out at every Pokemon vending machine in the world, and frankly, I'm a bit concerned. To go back to Logan Paul for a moment, a lot of people are confused on why he does what he does. It started off with a PSA 10 Charizard holo card. He also had a PSA 9 first edition holo card, which he then signed and sold for $38,000 to a streamer. He then jumped ship to One Piece. He started opening a bunch of One Piece packs once the spotlight on that series grew bigger. Why do I have two of these? And just recently, as of a few months ago, when the Overframe Arts pack for Yu-Gi-Oh dropped, guess who was there to call himself a major fan from the beginning of Yu-Gi-Oh and start collecting every box known to man? Yep, that's right, Logan Paul. To some of you, seeing this odd behavior, you might think, oh, Logan Paul is just a really big fan of trading cards, right? With my elite observation skills, I can see that the reason Logan Paul is jumping ship through all these franchises is so that he can make a quick buck and stay relevant. Ever since that first Charizard card, he has been jumping ship through every single franchise ever since, for the smallest hope of riding the hype that fan base have at that time. You can quite literally track every time he swaps a franchise once that franchise starts gaining relevance again. Just go on his Whatnot feed for his new company Rip It and see the amount of franchises he's constantly opening boxes for. Every single vlog of his, he's talking about collecting something new. Like, once again, the Hulk Hogan boots? Why the fuck does he care about Hulk Hogan boots? But especially for card games, any card game that Logan Paul touches, the market for that immediately crashes. And then any casual collector has to end up forking over double or triple the price for any card that they were looking at buying at the time. And these changes happen within weeks of him sticking his fingers inside these markets. There are genuinely people out there who are very easy to find on YouTube if you search a Pokemon market crash that make their living by teaching people on how to scalp better. They will look you dead in the eyes, meet your gaze, and you will sense no soul behind their eyes as they try to explain how to scalp more efficiently and maximize your profits off a kid's trading card. I genuinely cannot imagine them holding any sort of love and joy for any of these franchises or games or cards that they are collecting, because all they see is a stock market full of profit and losses. And oh buddy, it's only been profits for these whales, hasn't it? These aren't cards, they are cold hard bills that they put in their binders, spread across, looking at them like Jeffrey Dahmer did to his victims. Anything less than a PSA 10 might as well be trash. It's apple juice. I don't drink. Where was I? Anyways, Labubu suck and should rot in hell. When's the last time you've seen an actual kid at a Pokemon vending machine? Do you know how genuinely sad I got when I worked the front counter and the same kid walks in every week with his dad and he asks the same question, do you have Pokemon cards? And I have to break his heart week over week and telling him we don't have any in stock because someone looking to make a quick buck lined up at 6 a.m. outside of our store to storm in and buy every Pokemon card that we had, no matter how many restrictions we set. Imagine being the dad in this situation. That dad probably had a binder full of Pokemon cards that he collected over the years and that he was trading with his friends. And he probably actually played the TCG game. And now he has to go and tell his kid, sorry son, this guy who really wanted to make a profit got here at 6 a.m., which we literally can't do because I have a job and you have school. You could argue that they could go to a card shop, but not everyone is really close to a card shop. And even then, they charge out the ass for cards. Most of them. So good luck affording anything fun in this economy. The world is in such a weird place that a guy like me who owns literally 0 trading cards is annoyed at this fact. And this same logic applies to everything else that I talked about. Open up eBay. Remember the dumpling squishies? Yep, those are already going for double or even triple the price that they're selling for. And you don't even know which one you're gonna get because this one is a gotcha. And the fact that some of these guys have the cardboard inserts almost definitely means that they walked in and actually stole the whole item instead of even paying for it. Because once again, when I worked at Target, we were not allowed to give the cardboard inserts out. Those were vendor material and we had to send it back. So us employees had very strict guidelines on this. And speaking of employees, that's another giant rabbit hole that I just don't want to get into now. All I'll say is that every week some kid got fired from Target and we would get an email reminder telling us we cannot buy certain items because they're prohibited for employees due to being fast selling and limited stock. It's just tiring, isn't it? Like, these were things that were meant to be escapes. And they just turned into this ultra competitive market full of scalpers using bots, people who have all the time in the world, fist fights apparently, and depression. Squishies are meant to be a fun, cheap stress reliever. And now we have a genuine national shortage of them. And half the toys you see are either overpriced or are surprise boxes or both most of the time, honestly. What is a kid supposed to do? These companies are wringing us dry and we are just letting them. Again, with how much overabundance we have of everything and how we're just sloshing around billions and trillions of dollars every day, you think the NOOOO company can make more than 2 NOOOOs a day, or that Stanley at their peak couldn't send more than 5 Stanleys to every store? All they want to do is stay in this relevance cycle for as long as possible. And with the help of all these influencers who are giving them straight up free marketing, it looks like that plan is working for the most part. They're looking at us as nothing but dots on a giant spreadsheet, numbers on an advertiser's demographic board. You don't need every single mini brand item. You don't need the new NOOOOs. If you wait 2 weeks, you're probably gonna find them everywhere. And please, stop dropping thousands of dollars on Pokemon cards. You're not Logan Paul. You don't have the whale money to be dropping it on these booster boxes. If your livelihood is made off of opening Pokemon cards, more power to you. But the fact that people are going into actual debt just for the chance of getting some sort of rare Pokemon card is crazy. Just go to a casino at that point. Or do whatever you want. It's your money anyways. I don't care. Anyways, if you like the video, drop a like, subscribe. Join my free Patreon for any of the music that I use in the outros. I kind of just throw it on there. Here, feel free to support me there as well. Anyways, thank you. Bye.